Well, there you go. From July of 1982, that's Josie Cotton with He Could Be the One on TMRS. And our guest on the show tonight is the mysterious Josie Cotton. Where has Josie Cotton been? Well, I'll tell you, she's been on MySpace because I went to her site, and in her photos, you know, there are a lot of pictures of you, Josie, dressed up in various get-ups.
Yes. Well, you know, I was trying to do a lot of different characters from my last album, which was the Great Songs from Bad Movies album, you know, the theme songs from various B-movies. And so I was just doing little homages to these gals on these pictures and these movies. And you know, it was just a very fun kind of theatrical thing for me to pretend like I'm a bad actor.
Well, I have to say, though, Tora Satana, for me, is maybe one of the greatest actors in all of movies.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
She's my role model.
You know, Josie, I want to take you back to the very beginning of your career.
Yeah, back in the Neanderthal times, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't that long ago. You were born in Dallas.
No, actually, there's a lot of misinformation about me out there. I grew up in Dallas, but I actually was born in Missouri, in a town that no one from Missouri seems to have ever heard of. So I think it got wiped off the map or something because no one knows where Kirksville, Missouri is.
I know exactly where it is.
You do?
Yes, because my family's in Marceline.
No way.
Yeah, sure. Kirksville is like about 20 minutes away, not even. So then it was off to Dallas.
Yes.
And then it was off to Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
Were you into music as a teenager, I guess? Were you, following music, collecting records and all that kind of stuff? Maybe the punk scene? You were interested in that, or?
Well, I mean, my whole musical coming of age thing was really, in my teens and whatnot. So that was the punk thing influenced me, but I have to say I was just always influenced by all the music from the '60s and the whole British invasion and that seems to keep affecting music. People can't seem to shake the '60s off, and they keep rehashing it and reinventing it. Even the '80s was, I really think, very derivative of that era, and now we've dug up the '80s, which once again is like connected to the '60s, so it just keeps going being recycled.
And I would imagine that you must have also been into the '60s girl group sound, because I can hear some of that in your music.
Oh yeah, I was very affected deeply by their very superficial lyrics, and that was it. And the British invasion was, I mean, that's a huge. I kind of grew up listening to that, so that's in my genetic structure, I guess.
So then I want to get to your first record, Convertible Music, 1982. The single, Johnny Are You Queer, was before that, right? Yeah,
I actually had a record deal before on some obscure label that went out of business before the record came out, and then Bump wanted to do a whole record, and we just thought, well, let's do a single on Bump, and which we did, and Johnny A. Queer, and then Elektra picked it up, and the whole record. Yeah, that was 82 and whatnot. And I guess my big regret, if you're going to ask me that, was I think that I wish I'd stayed on Bump Records, honestly. I guess that's, the little labels just have a lot more integrity, or did. They're not even around anymore. The music business is pretty much gone with the dinosaurs. But at the time, I think the little labels were really, much better situation for artists.
Well, that's true, and believe me, around here we're all about indie labels, but I could see where you would want to sign with Elektra, just to get your record out there in a bigger way, and get that record in shops.
Well, but the irony is that it was Bump who had the massive publicity. They got us more publicity than I mean, I could ever imagine. And then Elektra was the one who really dropped the ball and couldn't get records in the stores. They were afraid of that song, and they killed it. They actually pulled it. And I don't know, it's kind of why they signed me, and then it was like, ooh, they were just scared of it. And I think there was political pressure from the left and the right to kill that song. Is kind of all the evidence that keeps coming back to me. It was dangerous, you know, or something.
And it's kind of ironic because now, you know, Katy Perry just had a big hit with I Kissed a Girl.
Right.
Now that song could be a hit all over again today.
Yeah, it was funny when, Jackass 2 came out. All of a sudden all my fans were like 15-year-old, girls and guys, and on MySpace it kind of definitely recycled back again. But it's so funny to me because still, I just went through this whole thing with, they wouldn't let me put Johnny Queer on MySpace. All of a sudden, it was the publishing company that said no, and now they let me put it back on. Thank you. And but they have a warning now. It's expletive. Like there's cursing in it or something.
Yeah, but the song is not. The song is not an attack.
No, I know.
Hey, anybody who's heard the song gets the joke,
Yeah, it's the most innocent thing, and that's why the people on both sides just were so taken aback, and the religious right thought I was trying to promote homosexuality, and and on the other side they thought it was, I don't know, it was some kind of a strange reaction in the world. I was kind of surprised when people just had a meltdown over it,
But even, nowadays, obviously the gay community doesn't have a problem with the song.
Oh, no,
yeah.
There's all, I for the queer folk and,
sure.
and Queer Nation, all that. And at one point I sent a message to the band, the Queers, and I said, "You're welcome." I heard nothing back. I don't think they got it.
Well, let's listen to what all the hubbub was about, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more with Josie Cotton. You're checking out That Modern Rock Show with Ghosty. Our guest is Josie Cotton. Josie, you had another hit right after that with He Could Be the One.
Yeah, that was actually a bigger hit for me than Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny was kind of an unhit,
Right. Also, you performed both of those songs in the film Valley Girl.
Yeah.
So that was even more exposure.
Yeah, sometimes I think if it hadn't been for that movie, I might have, people might have really forgotten me, because that seemed to have been a coming-of-age movie for a lot of guys. I thought it would be girls, but I met so many guys in their 30s where that was the movie where, in the moment when they came into their, I don't know, identities or something. And musically, especially, and just seeing people who were, just more arty, in the world, with the new sound that was
right.
that was coming around.
Well, I'm a guy in my 30s, and that's one of those movies for me. I can explain it to you.
I see.
Yeah, well, it's because every guy feels like they're a schlub. There's always a girl in school or whatever that you put on a pedestal. So every guy sees that movie and says, "Oh, I'm just like the Nicolas Cage character, and wouldn't it be great if, the sweet, nice, upper-class girl, you paid attention to me, and then, I got her to be hip," and it's a whole young male fantasy.
That is how it was explained to me too. And but the funny thing though is a lot of those girls were cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders end badly, I would say, in this world. And it's the kind of like messed up girls, who end up to be the interesting ones. I don't know. That's my theory. You know what I'm saying? The ones
Sure.
that weren't put on a pedestal, like they were the alienated, weird ones, and they have to fight for their identity. They can't just rely on being pretty and be able to, throw a pom pom in the air or something.
Well, there's not much call for leaping later
There
in life.
isn't.
Yeah.
And I think there should be more leaping. I do.
Well, then, after that film, you also had a hit with a cover song, Jimmy Loves Mary Ann.
Yeah, Jimmy Loves Me, especially in Europe. That seemed to do, have a response over there. Yeah, that was probably the wrong single and to put out first out of the bat. But you don't know when you're going to be dropped, so you can't really always time it exactly.
That was a good song, though.
It was a really good song. It was a really good song, but it's some kind of odd soap opera in the music business, especially back then.
So, that was the end of your period with Elektra Records.
Yeah, except my ongoing love-hate relationship with them.
Right.
But that was the end, and I pretty much dropped out of the music scene. Really, I kept making these records, and I've talked about this before, and I just couldn't bear to go back into that arena, of the music business. So I just like making records, and as soon as it became possible that people would want to put it out, I just bye. Which was silly, because if you make music no one hears, is it music? That's the question.
Well, the thing is, nowadays, a lot of people that I talk to bypass that system entirely now, because now through the internet, you can just release stuff online.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, and I think that's an incredible thing for music, because there's so much amazing artistic songwriting going on and production that they're not, hemmed in by your A&R guy. Well, that's not commercial. Won't sell in Milwaukee or whatever. It's a free flow of creativity, and I think that's fantastic. For just the state of music. The hard thing now is it's just getting paid.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other.
And that's how are they going to address that? I see so much in my music online that I have no idea how they got it or why, or and it seems to be legal, and I don't know who these people are. It's a little odd, and to be an artist and not know who's getting paid for what you maybe spend a year creating,
right.
But I just hope they work it out in some technological way of to where it can be on the internet and still be fair for the artist.
Well, your previous two records, Movie Disaster Music, right? And then Invasion of the B-Girls.
Yeah.
Now, how were they released?
Well, I put them on my own label. I knew I wouldn't drop myself.
Right.
Although I am going to fire myself soon, so it all works out. But I just had to unless you do something like that, I just didn't want to go into that world, and it's all disappearing anyway. So I have my little label, and I just put it out in both records, and now I'm going to start putting other artists on there, so it's not just Josie World,
Right.
How egotistical can you get? But for me, it was a great vehicle, and I actually was lucky enough to get distribution, which is really hard. That's the hardest thing of having a little label, is to get the distribution and all this, and tracking down everything becomes like a full-time job.
Right. But, you've also got some videos and stuff I saw on your website.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the little video, man?
I did.
I get to kill 9 guys in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
And I'm like, wow, this is really well done.
Yeah, that's a record for me.
Yeah, it's a really, really good video. And once again, I guess I should what's the name of your website? I know it, but for you to say.
It's JosieCotton.com is my website, but the MySpace thing, is MySpace / Josie Cotton.
Are you more active on the MySpace than?
Well, I've just gotten my website back up. I had some, quote unquote manager take it off for a long time, so it's back up, and I haven't fully gone into that again. But MySpace is where I've done a lot of. I've met a lot of people, and I've gotten a lot of work out of it. It's been fantastic because for me, I've been gone so long, and I really didn't know that people, liked me so much. I didn't understand at all that, was, kind of loved, and it was really sweet. It was amazing for me to, get to talk to my fans and this kind of thing. So it's been great. I've been on like a few albums because of it, and I got that Jackass movie where they found me on MySpace.
Well, it doesn't hurt that you can still sing.
That helps.
Yeah, that helps.
Am I supposed to not know how to do that anymore?
well, listen, there are some people who...
Well, it's funny, though, because it is true. Like, once you're a doctor, you're always a doctor or whatever profession. But if you were a singer ever, they go, oh, you used to be a singer. It's like all of a sudden you can't do it anymore. Like, right. Yeah, I used to be a singer before.
Well, there's always a few people that, for whatever reason, they have that weird Frankie Lyman thing happen to them or something.
There is that. Some people do kind of lose it a little bit, and especially songwriters. Some people just they have a fridge life, or they have a shelf life, and then they can't write any more good material. It's a mystery to me, really. It would seem like if you're a writer, you're always a writer. But who am I? I don't know.
Well, maybe it's a case of, people say, well, the zeitgeist, there was something in the air that...
Well, that's true, yeah. An idea whose time has come and all that. But, someone like Neil Young, and Tom Petty, I think they're amazing because they really stay... they just keep pumping it out, and it's always... you remember the song that Tom Petty did, The Last DJ?
Sure.
My God, I mean... He just nailed it, and it was a sad song. I don't know, to me, and I'm sure to you too.
Well, yeah, no, it is. A lot of people say, "Oh, you should play that to open your show," because we're a public radio station.
Yeah.
As opposed to commercial radio stations, which unfortunately are all voice tracked from one central location somewhere else,
and pretty much all owned by Clear Channel, right?
Yeah, Clear Channel, or one or two of these companies, and they just play the same songs over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's really sad, considering the irony that there is now all this great music and less places for radio to accommodate it.
Well, yeah, because back when you started out in the early '80s, obviously you had commercial stations, but there was a lot of creativity there. Like I guess in Los Angeles, it was probably K-Rock, right?
Yeah, K-Rock was a really great. It was a really great place for young artists and people doing new music and whatnot. Now, I mean, sure 103, Indie 103.
Yeah, I know that.
Down.
I know. I couldn't believe that because I'm like, how could you have it where you have Steve Jones with a show and Henry Rollins with a show? And
it was the only cool radio station left in L.A., and it's gone. I mean, I want to read what happened exactly, but that was just bizarre.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, I think someone took it over and they're playing top 40 music or something.
Oh.
So... yeah, well, that'll change. That'll change eventually because I think there's not a lot of money to be made in radio anymore, and I think a lot of these companies are going to get out of it. And then they'll start attacking the web.
And then they take over the web, right?
And then it's like, you're going to ruin this too. Yeah, they're always looking. See, the one of the great things about the internet is that it's freedom, and that comes with a price, obviously, because a lot of things get ripped off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is good in many cases, too, because a lot of people get their stuff out. In fact, if someone wanted to get Invasion of the Bee Girls and Movie Disaster Music, could they theoretically just go to your website?
Well, that's actually what we're setting up right now, but it's on Amazon. Amazon, .com is got those records, and that's a great venue for they're just kind of a one-stop shopping thing. So it's definitely on Amazon and CD Baby, but no one knows about CD Baby.
Oh no, people know. Sure.
Oh, they do?
Oh yeah.
All right. So, but yeah, so definitely you can buy it on there. Thank you.
Well, excellent. And your older stuff, I guess, is who puts that out? I don't think Elektra exists anymore. Do
See,
they?
that's what's so crazy because Elektra's gone, and I don't know where. Where that stuff, because people are buying those records, and I'm trying to straighten it all out right now. It's a mystery right now, but and I just have somebody really good helping me, sort it all out, and somehow it's just all over the place being sold, and I wrote most of the songs on those records, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, there should be royalties due.
There's some check for me somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Ghosty. Do you have one for me?
I don't have one, but when I put out when I get my label, then I'll do it. But tell us about your TV projects.
Yeah, and I have this thing coming up on VH1. They're playing one of those new songs I have coming out, and it's like this really long interview. Much longer than I thought. So that's really, a fun thing because that's a huge audience, and I guess no one could find me in the world or something, and it was just it's a mystery of where I went, and so somebody dug up my corpse.
Well, people have been looking for Josie
Cotton. I guess they have, yeah. And then I have this record I'm working on. I'm really, really excited about. It's pretty much a electro punk record.
Oh, cool!
And it's going to be a single coming from it, and with probably along with the VH1 show, since I'm going to have such a big audience, and so I'm working on this record. It's called Pussycat Babylon.
Very cool. And you're also doing something for Magnet Magazine?
Well, I've discovered something I really love, and that is writing words, not music. And I've just kind of fallen in love with the whole process. I've written comedy, and I've done various things like that, but I've never written articles per se. And they're actually it's going to be a 5-part series on pretty much. I'm talking about the movies that I took songs from my record.
Right.
Kind of like really crazy reviews and analysis, and just having a little shot at these movies that I just love so dearly, and being able to give like a review like it would embarrass anyone to read. Very silly, and yet deep. That's those are the two worlds I always try, and silly and deep simultaneously. It's hard to do.
Well, we're going to hear some new silly and deep music from Josie Cotton, your new song, Man-Eaters. Josie, thanks for being on the show. And how do you like that? You finally talked to someone who knew where Kirksville, Missouri was.
Now, that is strange. I thought I had been like born in a test tube because no one would go, no, we never heard of that. And oh, really? And I'd look on maps. I don't know. They keep it as like down the down low. But Kirksville, is it a good town, or you can just tell me briefly in one word?
Walmart. That's it. That's your word.
So glad I have no memory.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Farms.
Nothing.
And a Walmart.
And a Walmart.
That's it.
And a highway.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Josie.
It was so